Fix it in post. Hey everybody, my name's Adam Pippert. I'm a specialist solution architect here at Red Hat. And today we're going to talk a little bit about OpenShift AI. So OpenShift AI is a operator that lives on OpenShift, as the name suggests, and is a machine learning ops platform for being able to work with artificial intelligence and machine use. Start over. Hi everybody, this is Adam Pippert. I'm a principal solutions architect here at Red Hat. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Red Hat OpenShift AI, which is a machine learning ops platform for artificial intelligence, machine learning use cases that lives on OpenShift, as the name suggests. And this is going to be all about how this product is relevant to you as an infrastructure organization and how it allows you to be able to work with intelligent applications in a consistent way to the way that you work with other applications. So operationalizing AI ML is not trivial. One would think that given that an application is an application, that it shouldn't be that difficult to work with an AI ML application. It's just another component, right? In many ways, that's true. However, every member of the team plays a critical role in what turns out to be a complex process for building an application that utilizes AI or ML. And every different stakeholder in one of these applications has a different view of the world, a different role that they play, and ultimately a different level of knowledge about how these applications go together and get used in business. Business leadership individual, whether it's a director or a C-suite, they're going to set some sort of goal for what AI/ML needs to do for the business, because that's their role. They're the business people, and they're going to set some ideal goal for what you need to do as an IT and data science organization. And gathering and preparing the data really is a bifurcated process, because it involves both a data engineer whose role is really about the scope of data and where particular bodies of data will be most useful for the problem in order to develop that model. But that data has to come from somewhere. And usually it comes from a resource that's already provided by IT operations. So already we're starting to see that in the very beginning of putting together an AI/ML application, this is not a single team off in a silo doing a science experiment kind of project. This is a complex process that requires stakeholders all across the organization to be able to work together to complete some sort of goal. Gathering and preparing the data then moves into development, integrating that model into an application, and finally monitoring and managing the thing, like making it work in a large-scale lifecycle. If this is starting to sound like the pitch for Ansible, that's not by accident. For those of you who are not familiar with the Red Hat Ansible automation platform project, that's essentially automation across all of your organizations. And working with AI/ML works the exact same way. You have to have an application foundation that can help you across all of the different pieces of the puzzle in order to be able to truly monitor and work with the life cycle of your application all the way from preparation to death. And operationalizing AI is a huge challenge for most organizations. The timeline for doing so could be 12 months or longer. And this is just the average timeline that folks are seeing from idea to operationalizing the model. Not to mention whether or not this is actually a relevant product. So, sometimes we're working on AI/ML projects, and we may work on a project without even understanding whether or not the model or the data or any other piece of it is relevant. And wouldn't it be nice to have a platform that gives you the ability to go back and retrain and go back and improve that process over and over again in a true DevOps fashion? So fortunately, Red Hat's AI portfolio strategy is designed specifically around those needs. So we really developed this portfolio under the pillars of trust, choice, and consistency, which I'll get to what those three look like in detail in a moment. But first, we should take a look at some of the pieces that are a part of our portfolio. So this will include things like the open hybrid cloud platform. So Red Hat's whole portfolio is all designed to operate as part of an open platform that allows you to operate in a hybrid fashion. You can operate your cloud on premises and a cloud vendor at the edge. We really don't care where that compute exists. We know that folks exist in a heterogeneous compute environment these days. We want our products to be able to help you have a consistent operational experience across the entire ecosystem. And that's true with the Red Hat Ansible platform that I just talked about, with Red Hat Enterprise Linux, the core foundational operating system that exists under our entire platform, and OpenShift, which is our Kubernetes distribution. So the Open Hybrid Cloud platform acts as an infrastructure host and automation platform to be able to give you things like performance, scale, observability, connectivity, a secure supply chain. But the AI part really comes in some of these other pieces like models, the AI specific platforms, and our enabled portfolio. So let's talk a little bit about the models. We have some models that we've helped develop alongside of IBM called the Granite family. So this is a set of foundational models for machine learning that exist in a open source ecosystem. They are Apache 2 licensed models. They allow you to be able to work with foundational models that are trained on business data and that are completely open and available for your own use. Of course, you can work with your own models that you provide yourself or with ones that exist in our vast partner ecosystem. So we really give you the freedom of choice to be able to decide what models will suit your needs best. Those models then can be hosted on either RHEL AI for single server use or for a more scalable and highly available flexible use case, OpenShift AI. And both of those AI platforms give you the ability to do things like development and tuning, serving and monitoring, resource management, etc. The AI-enabled portfolio is what we call Lightspeed. So that is our brand name for any AI-enabled features that are added to components in the the Open Hybrid Cloud platform. So today that is Lightspeed for Ansible. Lightspeed will be extended soon into Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Red Hat OpenShift as well. So this Lightspeed portfolio is a value add to the products that allows you to be able to work with those products more consistently and more quickly with the help of artificial intelligence. It also allows us to be able to provide a use case for AI where we're providing a business level use case that helps us better align your needs with the types of products that you need as an AI practitioner yourselves. Also, AI workload support. So being able to host a model is only as good as that model's utility over its lifecycle. So we provide some features that are a part of OpenShift AI that allow you to be able to do things like connecting in with compliance, certification, built-in security, deployment, running, etc. So I did mention we were going to talk a little bit about that trust, choice, and consistency. So let's go into some details about what those mean. So first, trust. Your data is the new oil. I know you've probably heard that term before. Data is the new oil. What that really means at the center of it is that data is one of the most important assets that you own as an organization. And because of its importance, there is a sense of responsibility both from you and from us, the vendor, of ensuring that that data is treated with respect. So we need to make sure that we provide data location, privacy, and security constraints for you and your data so that as you are working with machine learning and generative AI, that those pieces of data that you have are treated with respect and dignity, but that we are also controlling the costs of what it means to be able to operate with that data. So you need to own the decision of where to train, deploy, and run that AI model that you want to use for your application. And our end of the bargain is that we provide infrastructure that will work no matter where you decide those need to go, and that will provide things like role-based access control and all the enterprise-grade controls that Red Hat specializes in order to be able to ensure that your AI applications are running in an enterprise fashion the same way any other application would. Now, of course, we would love for you to just use Red Hat everything for every workload that you have all the time, but we recognize that just like the cloud has this very colorful ecosystem with hundreds of partners all providing their own solutions for different problems that exist in the cloud, the AI ML landscape is even more fragmented than that, if you can imagine. So there are lots of capabilities that exist outside of Red Hat with our vast partner ecosystem. We want to provide both the ready-to-use environment that's ready to go out of the box, that gives you speed in order to be able to get to business outcomes quickly, but also the flexibility to be able to use the tools that you want to use for your own business needs when those arise. So we have these very carefully curated open source and emerging technologies to help you expedite AI adoption, but at the same time, we don't want to lock you into choices. So we provide a very rich ecosystem of partners, and we provide, it's open source, so you can work with other partners as you see fit to be able to provide operators and other things to go right on OpenShift. And finally, consistency. So it's one thing for your application to just live in an island somewhere and to just be a science experiment. It's another thing for the process of creating an AI application to be the same whether it lives in your cloud or lives on an on-premise data center or lives out on the edge or lives in a little device like this. So, I shouldn't have to care where that model is going to live. We can provide like t-shirt sizes of different model sizes available inside of OpenShift AI so that you can decide what model size you need and what models you want. That's great. But everything around that model and around how that model is treated and how your data is treated and how that model is deployed and how it's secured, all of those things should remain the same no matter where they go. And that is the value of OpenShift. It gives you the ability to have the flexibility of running the thing where you want to run the thing, but having it operate and run the same way no matter where it goes. So I did mention earlier Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI and Red Hat OpenShift AI. Those are different products. They're different enterprise grade large language model hosts, but they serve different needs. So Enterprise Linux AI is intended to be a foundational model platform, mostly for development and for basic serving. So if you need to serve a workload where a single server could do, maybe it's a lab environment, maybe it is a small use case, maybe it is a use case where that model will be changed very rapidly and it will continue to be developed constantly, then that's a good use case for Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI. It makes AI accessible to developers and domain experts that maybe don't have a lot of data science expertise through a project called Instruct Lab that is essentially productized into Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI. It provides a simplified approach to be able to work with generative AI and do training and inference on an individual production server deployment. Now, once that foundational model is developed and you need that thing to run at scale and need to be highly available and need it to run in containers, need it to run in a lot of different heterogeneous compute environments, that's the point at which OpenShift AI is the platform to use. And Red Hat OpenShift AI, by the way, includes a subscription for Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI so that you can do your foundational model testing, development, single server work all with Enterprise Linux AI. And then when it comes time to deploy out in your real, big scary environment, you can do that in OpenShift AI. And it includes things like distributed compute, collaborative workloads. It supports predictive AI as well, by the way. So despite the fact that generative AI has basically eaten the world the last 18 months, most of our customers are doing most of their AI work still with predictive models with a more mathematical, discrete approach. Makes sense. So we allow you to, with that platform, be able to do both kinds of workloads in the same scalable and controllable way. So speaking of generative AI, here's our specific strategy around generative AI and foundational models. So we mentioned earlier Granite models, right? We have those available as part of RHEL AI or OpenShift AI. We want you to be able to develop an infrastructure stack for single server and distributed workloads. So we're doing things like scheduling for building, fine-tuning, serving foundational models. That is the purpose of RHEL AI and OpenShift AI. We allow you to bring your own model sort of out of the box stuff in OpenShift AI, so we can incorporate open source and partner ecosystem model integration directly from the platform. It's pretty easy to use. And then that light speed stuff that I talked about that earlier. Our engineering, of course, is 100% open source. It's Red Hat. That's what we do. That's all we do. We take upstream projects, we curate them into some community project, and then we productize it into a product. And OpenShift AI is no different. Open Data Hub is our community project that allows as our base where we take some of those upstream projects, the best of breed components from the AI/ML ecosystem, and bake them together into Open Data Hub. And then we wrap the whole thing in a Red Hat UI experience, harden it, test it, do all of the things that we do with Linux. We do those same things with OpenShift AI. And then, of course, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI that comes from the Granite Code Models and Instruct Lab, same process, right, to turn it into a product. So OpenShift AI specifically is available as managed cloud service or as a traditional software product that can live on site or in the cloud. And it does four things. These are the intended uses of OpenShift AI. Model development, so you should be able to have integration into AI/ML libraries, frameworks, runtimes, be able to bring a model into your use case. Serving and monitoring, so you should be able to serve that model in any size of deployment that you want based on the size of the model and based on your needs. Being able to do monitoring so you can understand how that model is performing. Lifecycle management, so in the same way that DevOps provided a set of best practices for software development that we have sort of rinsed and repeated into NetOps and DevSecOps and every GitOps and every other kind of ops you can imagine. MLOps is no different. We want to take the best of breed of lifecycle management and manage the entire AI/ML lifecycle in that same fashion. And finally, resource optimization and management. So we're all in enterprises, right? Our job is to make money. And part of the way that we make money is to increase scale, but it's also to be efficient with that scale that we work with. So we need to be able to scale to meet your workload demands of generative AI and predictive models, but we want you to be able to share resources, projects, and models across environment so we can optimize those resources and ultimately save you time, energy, and money, right? These are just some of the components that are a part of an OpenShift AI use case. For gathering and preparing data, we generally recommend that customers work with a tool like Red Hat Application Foundations to be able to do data streaming and integration. Oftentimes, you may have other ISV software partners that you work with in this space, like Pachyderm or Starburst. We have many partners that we work with in the ecosystem for doing that gathering and preparation data. And then once you get to the model part, developing, deployment, monitoring, that's the part where OpenShift AI really shines. And we have many partners that we work with in those spaces too, including IBM. So IBM has their Watson X platform that they offer that can do all of this stuff. By the way, the WatsonX.ai platform is OpenShift AI under the covers. So they're working very closely with us to make sure that their application is highly scalable and distributable, just like ours is. And when it comes to where does this thing live, we want to make sure that we support all the best of breed accelerators as well. So we have great partnerships with NVIDIA, Intel, and AMD to ensure that your OpenShift experience with generative AI and with machine learning is optimal, just as it would be if you were using open source projects to work on this kind of infrastructure. So we want to make sure that we're working with all the same folks you are. So the elephant in the room is, okay, AI/ML, some of us have been doing it a while. Some of us have been doing it without Red Hat. Why should we bother? So there are some things that differentiate Red Hat's approach to AI/ML from other organizations. And this isn't just like we're open source and they're not, or we're a platform and they're a in service, right? Like those things are obvious. But some things that we do that are a little bit different may not be so obvious. So first of all, simplifying adoption is incredibly important for Red Hat. Remember that freedom of choice thing I talked about? We know that there are lots of different choices that you have when it comes to technologies that you can use in your machine learning journey. Lots of different things. We don't want to get in the way of that, but we also want to provide you the ability to have an opinion when it's needed so that you can get started very quickly and then have something that lives in production and provides value and then optimize it over time with the parts and pieces that you want to replace that help your business. So we want you to simplify that adoption cycle, but also give you the ability to rework pieces that are necessary in order to ensure that that workload is what's best for your business. Also, that workload should exist no matter where and no matter who is working on it, right? It should be the same process whether it's your data science team that's doing experiments and when it needs to go in production in IT. Like we saw earlier, for an AI/ML application, there are parts of that lifecycle of the application early on where both the data engineer and IT operations need to be on the same page. And that's before you even start to develop the model. That's like early on in the gathering and preparation part. So it behooves you to have a platform that allows you to streamline that process of moving models from experiment to production using a consistent platform. Remember earlier when we talked about 7 to 12 months to get stuff rolling from experiment out to I'm going to go put this thing in production? That's part of the reason why, is because these teams have developed their own separate silos and different ways of doing the same thing that slow down that process. And finally, hybrid cloud flexibility. So this thing needs to run, this AI ML model needs to run, this application needs to run, but that could run a lot of places. It could be, again, on one of these little guys. It could be an edge device. It could be on a big honking server or a workstation like what I've got over here. It could be out in AWS or Azure or some other cloud provider like Google. It could be in a disconnected environment. It could be living out on a cruise ship or a space shuttle. Like, I don't know where it's going to go, and I shouldn't have to know where it's going to go. OpenShift AI gives you the ability to be able to run those containers wherever they need to go. Unfortunately, this is a lot of stuff to learn. Like, imagine as an IT operator, you are being tasked to maintain an infrastructure that handles all sorts of applications for your business. And now your boss is saying, oh, yeah, by the way, you got to run this AI stuff too. That's a lot of learning to have to pick up, right? So as a platform operator, you have to get upskilled. You have to start learning new capabilities, and it's difficult to do. So we offer consulting through programs like AI Accelerator, MLOps Foundation, and the AI Incubator that allow you as an organization to be able to rapidly deploy and adopt OpenShift AI and be able to use it for a real use case while also developing best practices and learning how to do it the right way the first time. So thank you very much for your time today. Appreciated the time to get to talk. And if you have any questions about anything that you saw today, you can reach out to me personally. You can reach out to your Red Hat account team. They'll be more than happy to help you out. Again, thank you so much for the conversation. Look forward to talking with some of you again.